Guys, do you have someone in your life that is toxic, maybe narcissistic? He takes away your energy. Well, he might be the greatest gift you ever had. Well, mine was, even though I didn't see it at the time. His name is Mr. Pepper. He was formerly the director of my previous improv group. And there's a long story, so let's talk about it. And hi, if you're new here, I'm Cahir. I'm here to take you one step closer to self love. No, I think I've mentioned Mr. Pepper in the past, but I didn't really do a deep dive yet. So, to set the framework, this is, I believe, around 2019, which, oh my gosh, how much time has passed already. Hard to believe. But I remember I was in my mid 20s, I think 25 exactly. Um, Still having struggles at university and having so much social anxiety, low self esteem. I really didn't have any friends. And I had, of course, the shame about that. Like, oh, you loser, you don't have any friends. Ah! So really, um, if you guys watch my previous videos, a really tough time. Just being in the country for so long. It was a few years not making friends in university, doing your best, but it's really struggling. And I remember it was in the afternoon, evening one day, and my brother saw there was like an English improv show in Warsaw, which is very rare. We've never seen that before. And I had my normal, not normal at the time, kind of nihilistic dread. I had this all-encompassing negative emotion. I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should go. I don't know." And my brother's like, "Come on, it's cheap. It's unique. You love acting. You love improv. Come on." I'm like, "Fine." I'm glad I went because what I saw there, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was bad. I remember having a few laughs and it was quite a lot of people. But I remember seeing them on stage and I'm like, huh, no, I could do that. I had acting experience in high school. I took improv in college. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. And I remember meeting Mr. Pepper there. He was always well dressed because he was the host of the show. I asked him about auditions. He's like, oh, not sure, but uh, check us on Facebook. We'll let you know. And through happenstance, synchronicity, I remember there's this stand-up comedian that messaged me and he said, "Oh, they're actually hosting auditions. Just message them directly." Uh, and the auditions, where were auditions is more like, "Hey, do you want to do improv?" Us. So we just had one practice, and like, "All right, you're in." Well, it was cool to join something, and now I could also see what was struggling for me to make friends was I wasn't showing up. I'd do things sporadically, feel anxious and leave, but being a part of a group, I was kind of forced, not forced. Well, if I wanted to be a part of the group, I had to keep showing up, right? And putting the hours in. I see it now with in hindsight that I was putting the hours on to make connections. So it was quite a great improvement for me to not really having anybody. And thankfully, that's where I met Tamara, my best friend, closest friend, pretty much like an older sister to me. Um, but that took time. um, so it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. If you guys are hearing noises on in the forest preserve, my bad. That's a warning. All right. And speaking, if you hear that, it's about conflict. Hey, there was some conflict. Um, like I said, it wasn't because we're a toxic relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. Just toxic people in general. If they were 100% negative all the time, it'd be so easy to leave, right? But with Mr. Pepper, he was wise. You could tell he had a lot of stage experience. He did improv acting before. Like he had a presence to him and a charisma, and he was funny. And he hosted all the shows, which I could have been a red flag because now as a group we alternate who hosts the show. But he kind of took it as like, oh, I'm the director of the group. I'm the founder of the group. I get to host the show all the time. Yeah. And he was authority figure. Like, who decided who was on stage? Who decided who was in the games? Who decided the stage time? Him. As opposed to what I do with Mixed Nuts now, that we just say, hey, what games do you want to be in? Everyone has this amount of games. Let's allocate accordingly. But no. And that in my previous group was like, oh, Mr. Pepper gets to decide how much stage time you get. And he had his best friend. Let's call him Cheesesteak. His best friend Cheesesteak. He got all his game, most of the games. I mean, he was okay. He was a quite good actor, but come on, like, I guess the thinking was like, oh, since we're new, we shouldn't be on stage all the time. But I remember after the first 2 or 3 shows, I was already getting warmed up to being on stage, and we were like fighting for stage time. You should have seen us. There's this game, Freeze, where you say freeze and you tag the person that was in the stage, and then you replace them. It was like a like a war. We're fighting. We're like just trying to get the crumbs of stage time. It was that bad, man. And there was like this tension between the newbies and the already established team members. There was no integration, which, as a co-founder of the group, of my own group, I understand. I could see how um, difficult it is to find time for everybody, but we have actually attempted to have integration, but there was no attempt for integration. And even if there was, it was just like, I remember we had like maybe one party or something. It was just still awkward. Like, ah, I will get into details, but and I just felt like a divide between the new people and the old people. I think this had something to do with Mr. Pepper himself. Whereas honestly, I saw him as the ghost of Christmas future, because he was a gamer like me. He loved acting like me. I'm pretty sure he was first generation American as well. Although he kept saying he was Brazilian, but that's the thing. He spoke English with an American accent. I never heard him speak Portuguese. Um, the few times he did talk about his past, he talked about when he lived in, I think it was California or something. So that's the thing. I didn't know really a lot about him. It's weird to make a form a relationship of any kind if you don't, well, if you don't know anything. And I remember she invited me over to play. It was this Super Smash Bros. I was like, oh yeah, sure, sure. Guys, one of the weirdest experiences. I remember trying to ask him questions to get him to know him better. He gave me like short answers. He didn't ask me any questions. It was just like I was just a NPC playing against him. It was so weird. And the thing is, when he would organize practices, I say organize very loosely. We wouldn't even practice. Bro, I'm telling you, I remember clear as day. There's this we were he was just on his laptop talking about something. Maybe it was something about the event or what the title is. And we did 5 minutes of improv that day. 5 minutes. Nigga, I had, it's my free time, my evening. I wanted to go act. I just remember the feeling that I felt so small, so disempowered. I mean, part of it, of course, was my nature at the time being very disempowered, to have a lot of social anxiety, all that stuff. But I remember it wasn't a conducive environment to be yourself. I just remember feeling this tension all the time, guys. And also this inner rage inside of me that, like, hey, why aren't we practicing? I came here to practice. I didn't say anything. No one said anything. Like I said, probably this environment. And he had a co-founder, so let's call her Priya, very like grounded person, and she was like night and day difference. She was organized. She wrote all the things that we had to do. We actually practiced the games, and I felt good. I'm like, why isn't she leading the practices? Like, I'm telling you guys, it was a problem, a problem. And we had one cast member like showed up drunk, and I was like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with someone showing up to drunk to practice. And he's like, well, sometimes I drink during the show or whatever. And he did. He did. Not all the time, but he did. I'm like, I know there's different improv groups that say it's okay. For me, I don't think that's okay. Especially during practice, it's showing like you're not taking it seriously. I know it's improv, but still it's like I treat it as my craft. I want to do it the best as possible. I can't do that inebriated. Ah man. So you can tell there's a few problems right there. And then this all brought up to a climax towards the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic, let's say January. And Mr. Pepper had his favorite game. It was called Bong Bong Bong. A name that will live in infamy in my head. Basically, it was because if I remember, like he didn't actually when he was the host, which he was the host all the time, he wouldn't play that many games. But he said, "Oh, since I'm the host, I get to have one wrong game." And it was basically a one man show where he would and like do a scene, like I don't know, like stealing something from a bank, but he could only say bang bang bang, like bang bang bang, bang bang bang. And it took guys like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and then cheesesteak would reenact what he saw. This is honestly a stupid game. Nobody liked it. No one in the cast. And we even did a survey. We did like a Google, like anonymous survey. Like what games did you like? What games did you not like? And guess what? A lot of people said Bong 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 was their least favorite. Take it out. Don't do it next time. I remember in January or February show, whatever, we're planning the games, of course. We're not getting a lot of games. And he said, all right, so I'll have Bong 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 in the middle. And I saw everyone's faces because I've talked to people in privately as well. They said they don't like it. I remember them looking at each other like, oh man, this again. I'm like, why isn't anyone saying anything? I know why, because of the toxic environment. But I was like, you know what, Kahir, we gotta say the truth. We gotta stand up for ourselves. It's not fair. Let's taking up all this time. No one likes the game. And I said, hey, no one really likes Bong Bong Bong. I know you like it, but we got feedback from the audience, and as it takes a lot of time. We don't feel it's fair because you could do like 2 or 3 short form games. That's for games for us. You're taking it just for yourself. And oh man, he got so angry. He's like, well, maybe do you want to host a show? Do you want to be? Do you want to lead the improv group? Such like I would say very narcissistic, childish reaction. I love being judgmental because I remember there's a very I can see in hindsight now brought up a lot of childhood trauma in my nervous system because that happened to me. If I spoke up about something negative in my experience, I'd get perdón, current just something like that where you get yelled at. And no one really defended me except for there was a Frenchman in our group, and the Frenchman helped me out. Well, a little bit. He didn't like say like, "Hey, that's not nice." He did say something about this. No, no. Um, and it was really painful at the time. I remember getting very, very upset, like super upset. And then he messaged me and be like, "Ah, it was very, it was." I messaged him. I was like, I felt bullied that you said that stuff in front of the group. I said, "Well, you're actually bullying me because we talked about bong bong bong, which we didn't." Total gaslighting behavior. We never talked about bong bong bong. That was the first time we talked about it. Oh man. And don't get me started on gaslighting. But because of this experience, it forced me to become a leader. I couldn't believe I didn't believe in myself. Like me making an improv group, like organizing practices. I don't know. But after that, like that motivation, like, all right, you know what? Fuck you. I can do it. And what we started to do is then the pandemic started in March, right? And we as the newbies, we met. Like that's the thing. He gave up. He stopped practicing. But we as the newbies were like, you know what? This could be a great time to catch up to their level. And we started practicing every week. No show in mind, just to get better at it. And then the Frenchman was actually organizing it. It was at his place. God bless him. I say Frenchman lovingly. And so we called ourselves. I won't say the name, but for um, that's fine. We called ourselves a different name too, and that was like the beginning of Mixed Nuts, my current group. Not entirely. Some people left, but later when I found my own people. But that was like the beginning that I showed myself, hey, I could do something, man. I could be a leader. I can organize practices. And I feel the contrast with my own group that I've and the help of my co-founder Tamara, of course. She's very good at it too. Like having empathetic, supportive, and we've had conversations. We've talked about conflict openly. And sure, we have our challenges, but we overcome it together. And it's such a nice contrast to feel like, this is the environment I created where people do feel safe to speak out and to talk about things, and we adapt, and everyone has an equal say. I'm not I'm not like, a dictator. I feel like, I'm facilitating the creativity, and that's what's the most important, that we make a good show. And putting in this in the Course in Miracles perspective, Mr. Pepper was just a reflection of my own victim mentality, my own lack of boundaries. And I could see, like, if I didn't work on myself, if I didn't have my spiritual practice, if I didn't go to Healthy Gamer, maybe I would have ended up something like him. Probably not, but it probably maybe something close to it. Who knows? But and I saw, like, with my victim mentality, I was like, well, why isn't anyone standing up to injustice? But I'm like, well, you're somebody, right? And who's putting the limitation on my voice? Me. I was putting a limitation on my voice. I wasn't standing up for myself. But now I'm so glad I stood up for myself and for others. That's a true paladin move, isn't it? And I have gratitude for this experience now because it forced me to grow. It forced me to be the person that I know I wanted to be. It's uncomfortable, but now I understand. Right? I was tolerating toxicity like that in all sorts of relationships. But now I don't do that shit no more. I remember what the Course teaches us. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Right? I took one step towards empowerment, towards truth, and saying, hey, I don't like this game. It started everything. And yes, it was painful in the beginning. But I don't know what would have happened if I didn't stand up for myself, if I didn't believe in myself. There wouldn't be a Mixed Nuts. It's my heart and joy right now. So I encourage you guys to look at someone in your life that's like that. Not to give in and say, oh yeah, it's okay. But see, what are they showing you? What are they reflecting to you? How can you grow from this experience? And maybe how are you stifling your own truth? I encourage you to speak your truth, man, even if it's uncomfortable. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please subscribe if you want more healing content like this. May the Holy Spirit light up your path where it takes you. Take care.